Got you. Got you. Yeah. R&B Grammy. Free my brother. It's free to his bags. Look.
All right, you must be looking at your screen again. It's RSG live in the building. Y'all long time listeners and watchers. Y'all see some familiar faces from our run at Maui coming in the building and everything else. I want to bring in my co-host for the evening. What's up, Joy? How you doing?
What's up? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. How you doing, Cecil? How you doing, Coach?
I'm all good. I'm good.
Now, before we go, we gotta bow down. We got a bow down moment. Like we just had the RSG Tourney Challenge, and for those of you who haven't had a chance, the way the challenge works is we have top 3 spots. The top spot gets the championship belt, and the key is you going up against the RSG crew. And if we occupy the spots, the rest of y'all get nothing. But if one of our RSG people get on top, I find a way to get them the belt. And Joy got the belt this year. Now the belt they're gonna get is gonna be a little bit different than the regular belt because she's within the family, but she's getting a belt. She's gonna get a belt, but she gotta get a belt. She earned it. And so we always gotta give our flowers. We usually start the show. We usually interview the winner, and so since she's one of our own, we can always interview. So Joy, I'm gonna just talk to you a little bit. What was your approach to this year? We talk a lot before. We've had a chance to see a lot of these teams. A number of these teams played out in Honolulu when we were out there with the tournament for the Maui Invitational. So you saw some of those teams, but you're a basketball. You watch a lot of basketball. So what was your approach to how you went after the brackets this year?
So typically I lose because I go with the heart. I always go with the heart. Who I think should win, but doesn't win. This year I said, you want to win? You better go with the head. Like you said, I watch a lot of basketball. Watching Maui helped a lot, but I do watch, throughout the season. So I had to go with who's really going to show up. Was UNC my favorite team, the best team? No.
The other can't trust the list. We know.
Right.
Exactly. And the only reason why I topped you in the end is because I picked the final 2 correct.
That's right.
That's the only reason. If not, you would have won.
Wow.
But I looked at everybody's bracket, and it's because I went the who gonna win route. Who can really do it route? I picked Purdue because they kind of was on a mission. But did I pick them to win? No. UConn was embarrassing the whole world. The whole world. You had to go the sure route, which is the way you went. Except I picked Purdue,
And
so
the Purdue ones was emotional for us because y'all know Purdue is perennial on my can't trust it list. I had been critical of Coach Painter, but then when you meet the man, you meet the man, it's just different. Like, this is a genuinely good dude, and he cares about his kids, and he's smart, and it's like, wow, it was one of those things, and I was like, I was gonna ride with him, but I had too many can't trusted people in my thought process, and I was like, I just thought his straight line drivers wasn't gonna work it. It wasn't about Edie; it was like the supporting cast, but you rolled with it, so you got it. And you took a picture with Edie. That probably what did it.
Yeah.
He took a picture with Edie.
This was Jersey.
Was there a team that, because I believe you did it right. It was almost like survive in advance. You had to do really well in that first round. I think we both really did really well, and then you just kind of survived through the end. You got
because I also picked North Carolina State. I surprised myself.
Yes. So what was about North Carolina State? Why'd you take them?
They were on a roll in the ACC tournament. Yes. I never seen them play so good.
But you're a Carolina fan. I was like, I thought that would have been hard for you to pick Carolina.
I just told you I gotta go with the head this time, not the heart.
Right.
Previous years, every year previous, UNC to the final. Even though I knew it wasn't gonna happen, it was the loyalty that killed me. This year, I was about. I'm picking right.
Yes.
The loyalty was out the door because I'm trying to win here.
Truth.
Hey, well, you demonstrated you are the boss. The belt will be in the mail. We gotta get it to you. We look forward to seeing you soon, and you will have the belt. We'll take a picture with it. And think about it. The past 2 years, Joy won it this year. My sister, who knows a lot about basketball, as well as and my sister, even worse than Joy, Sandra came in, and so she was at a meeting actually out there, and she forgot to put her sheet in this year. She put her sheet in the other pool I was doing. She didn't put her sheet in this one. But last year she came in and telling me she's gonna win the belt, and she won. I said, "Ain't this a trip?" So two of my favorite people the last 2 years, I've gotten to win the belt. So next year, if y'all ready, come see us. We giving out these belts. So but you better bring your game because Joy gonna try and go back to back. I'm trying to get the number 1 spot. I've been consistent too in all my tournaments, all my brackets this year, all the ones I entered the pools. I was number 2, so I was close. Except for the women's one, I won. So we'll talk a little bit about the women's game. I got my women's game. I got the game up on there. I won over there. I rolled hard on the women's side. We're gonna start out. We got
only because I didn't do a bracket. I would have beat you in that one too.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
and the thing about it is, I can't deny. I ain't gonna push back. You already rocking one belt. Everything else, I'm not gonna push back on it at all. So it's so good. We'll have it on our Real Sports Guys .com page. We'll have to get all our past winners. I got Bob O'Brada won it the first year I gave a belt. Bob's another close friend. Cecil and I know Bob from Streeter, Illinois. My sister won. Now, Joy, we have to get those pictures up on the website as we're actually redoing the website and get that pictures up. But we'll get that belt to you. Congratulations again. First of all, for holding it down for the RSG crew, let everybody else. You gave them the no problem. You gave them the Dikembe. We ain't giving them no spots. So you and I held it down. The rest of them, Carl, Darnell, all of them cats, even Phil Teeve, who's all in it. They all near the bottom. Like them cats, we had to hold it down. The rest of them was in the witness protection program. So I'm glad my sister Joy was on the road. She was on it with me, holding down the block a little bit. So it's good to go. We got a full show we can talk about, and it's gonna be, we're gonna be in this kind of college, kind of basketball, NCAA sports kind of thing space right now. And I love talking to both of you about that because just the way y'all think about these things. Let's reflect a little bit. Did we talk a little about coming out of the tournament? When I did the show with Cecil, and then we was getting ready for like the Final Four, and we said, we're gonna say the best for last. We're gonna talk about the women last, and everybody started laughing because they showed out and showed up, and we just had the WNBA draft this past weekend. We were just talking about it on the air before. The numbers are up. The game is in a really interesting space. Gino Auriemma was talking a little bit about why it was like that way, and we'll get to some of the stuff he said because I thought he made some really good points around this. Joy, I'll start with you. Just as you looked at the WNBA draft and just the end of the women's season, not just more than Caitlin Clark, who is obviously a phenomenal player and really drove a lot, but just where that game is, the draft and how you see it. Just your thoughts about where you see the women's game right now.
Oh, I think it's on the up curve, huge up curve. There's excitement all over. I think it was Shaq and Chuck that said they rather watch women's game because my mom, who is not really a basketball enthusiast, but she loves watching basketball. She said, "How come the women make more baskets than the men?" She's like, "They don't miss very much," and I was like, "You're right."
Good point.
But just the excitement. Their game seems to be more exciting. Their stadiums are filled. Their coaches are animated. You got Dawn. You got I can't remember her name. LSU coach right now, but
Mulkey.
yeah, and then you got Gino, who's always been there, who has a mouth on him. But I think it's just up on the upswing because excitement is there. You got polarizing characters now. You got Angel Reese. You got Caitlin Clark. You got Flaw J. Johnson, who's a rapper on the side. And, they're just very well known. Previously, no one knew any women's basketball players, let alone the coaches. Now everyone knows them, and everyone excited to watch and be there and be a part of it. And their game's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, Cecil, you saw it, we've had a chance to talk a little bit about these things, but you saw, uh, uh, Caitlin's going to Indiana. You got Angel Reese and Cardoza going to Chicago. You got a game that one of the worries after coming out of the momentum last year was the structure of the way the WNBA was up. Like, we had all these names, and then we had some of these top players not make the team. But they call this a generational class, but there's a tight structure in terms of how, these rosters and everything else and everything else. But this class seems to be different. And what is it about it that feels different about this, even though we have some of the same structural issues that we had last year?
Well, this isn't my realm usually. I like to say it's their skill, but and that's part of it.
Yeah.
But it's all the buildup around women's basketball makes this class marketable.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to want to see them.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you've got to keep them on your roster. Not that, Angela, Cardoza, Caitlin for sure wouldn't make the teams, but even like you were talking about the young lady from Utah and some of the other players that were taken, these are all, even what's her name? Kate, the shooter from Iowa.
Martin.
Martin. Everybody knows
she was going to get drafted. She was just kind of hanging out.
She was hanging out. But see, that's just it. Everybody knows their names.
Yep.
Okay. And so I got to have that name on my roster. Now, if I got number 15 sitting down there on the end of the bench that ain't been playing, nobody knows who it is. Now I'm going to make space for them because they got name. Yeah. They're going to bring people to the stadium. I'm already looking to get my Sky tickets. Yeah. And
we getting credentials, man. We're not running like that.
Okay, I'm feeling that, but that's what I'm saying. I'm looking forward to it too. And I already got it marked on my calendar. 23rd, the Fever come up to the Sky. So that's what people are gonna do.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. Like you folks are, even including myself. I'm a men's basketball kind of person.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just what I enjoy because. I don't know. That's what we've been doing. But now there's these names that you want to see play. It's not just Caitlin, the girl from Stanford. I forgot her name too.
Brink. Yep.
Brink.
Yes. Yeah. Like these
and
are
Edwards. They had two of them.
I mean, and there were good players before, like Diana Taurasi, but she didn't have that star power, like Cecil's saying, that bring in the tickets that people want to see. Now, people.
I want to tell you, Diana, and that's the thing. And Devon knows about me. I've loved women basketball.
Yeah.
I have always said women's
basketball. But you're a basketball enthusiast. We're talking about
because
people.
They still played the game.
Yes.
They still had movement. They still had a flow to their game. And I've always said, I don't need to see a dunk to be happy. Okay. Yeah. I like the ball moving. I like Maya Moore. Oh, girl, talk about a baller. Straight up baller. Okay. Diana, straight up baller. That we'll get to that conversation, but that's where Diana's coming from too, in the transition these players to the WNBA. You got a ball when you get there. Okay. Sue Bird, baller. Okay. Baller. I've always loved their game. For me, they had star power. The other thing that's interesting too is that women's basketball went through kind of what men's basketball did and surged out of it too. Yeah. Women's basketball had Tennessee, Connecticut, Stanford, and who else? That was it.
Yep. Before that, always was Tech. Yep.
It was gonna be Gino. Back in the day, it was Tennessee.
Yeah.
Okay, and so there was nothing coming out of there. You knew they were going to be in the Final Four. You knew Tennessee was going to win. You knew UConn was going to win. Everybody played a good game. And like me, I was a junkie. So, and my girls played. And so I was watching that kind of basketball.
Right.
Men went through the same thing for a while. There used to be Duke, North Carolina. You always expected one of them to be in the tournament. Every now and then a Houston would slide in there or something like that. And of course, you go way back to UCLA. And that was a boring time for basketball. And there weren't guys, unless you were a name coming out of those schools, The NBA was the same way. You had to be a name and get on an NBA squad, okay? But then the star power started to come, and now they're making more room for more people. The women are just catching up to that now.
Yeah.
Where but even more so today, marketing is huge.
Yeah.
Names
It can accelerate the process. I use that analogy a lot, Cecil. I said the women's game right now is entering where the men's game was in the early to mid 90s when the Big East came in. Energy changed. And because before it was a few teams, it was Indiana, and it was because of the way the media was working, WGN, DePaul. That's why DePaul was getting on the players. Everybody's watching DePaul. It was like around a few strong teams where they got a lot of the top talent. That was happening in women's basketball. Now, the gap between those top teams, now you can't tell. You got upsets even in this tournament. You had some lower seeds win because if you go to AAU games, it's flooded with talent. Like the way they ball and the energy. So y'all right. I think we're moving in to where and how that mid '80s college game impacted the NBA. Because think about who came out of those middle drafts. That's when you start having Olajuwon. This is almost like the Olajuwon draft. Where you had all them players, right? You had that moment, that draft that was coming out of where everybody's starting to recognize Big East basketball and all that stuff. That started bringing a lot more energy. ESPN was in there. That kind of thing starts to drive a lot more energy. Joy, we talked a little bit about, you said you were surprised at how much they earned.
Oh, God.
You didn't know the salary.
I knew it was different, or there was a huge difference. I didn't know it was that huge of a difference. Caitlin's going to make only $76,500 the first year. Then it says the next year she's going to make $78,000. Then the third year only $85,000. And then she has an option for the fourth year to make $97,000. Like, are you kidding me? She's going to make 8 figures from Nike alone, but that's what the WNBA is paying her. Pennies. It's insane. Wembanyama in his first year made $12 million.
Yeah, he's got 55 mil over 5 years.
Yeah. Jamel Hill, they were on CNN. I think she was having a discussion about this, and she said it's important to put this in the proper context. Yeah. And she said, what she was saying is don't look at what the NBA is getting. She says, look at where women's basketball is and compared to even other sports. And the other thing is look at what the share revenue model looks like. And that's where, and that's where it was interesting when she started talking about that context, because for a while they only getting 20% of the revenue. They kind of just moved it up to 50%, I think. But now it's positioned, and this is back we're saying about how it's similar to where the men's game was in the 80s and the mid 80s. What ends up happening is when you get that kind of talent, when you got Ewing coming in, you get Ralph Sampson coming in, you get all these, when it's not just Magic in them, but now you got like 12 of them coming in. You got Clyde Drexler coming in. You got all that stuff. So when you go to the table to do the deal, right, the money changes, right? The money changes. And so it's going to be lag time right now because they got to wait for the next media deal. And they just got Golden State, right? Now they got to expand rosters, right? And so it's going to be interesting. Like what you just said, she made $3 million last year, Caitlin, right? Did you tell me that?
She made $3 million last week.
Exactly. But
let's be real. She made $3 million last week.
Probably.
It goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Because the popularity, the revenue is going to go up ticket wise as well with these stars.
Oh yeah, the stadium's going to sell out.
So then they can distribute more. But it's just mind blowing that if you really look at it, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I was like, what? Is that all she's making?
I think, like Devon said, it's a growth thing that's going to happen over time too. Again, it's reflective of what it was like for the NBA. The other thing too is, I mean, let's face it. You got players coming year after year after year now. Again, the WNBA is full of Connecticut players. The WNBA is full of Tennessee players.
Yeah.
They're full of VTech players, okay? Full of Stanford players. That's going to change now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got players come out of all these schools.
Yeah.
USC,
South Carolina,
Iowa State. You got players come. the talent has increased. AAU just playing ball, getting young women in gyms, getting young ladies in gyms and playing ball, putting time in. Now they're playing, so you're going to have more and more talent coming out every year, and so the league's going to have to grow because you got to have somewhere to put them.
And the other thing is that we also up against because of what we just talked about around the earnings. Even on the top end, because when they did the agreement with the I believe with the revenue, the players made sure more of the veteran players were going to earn at the top of the pay scale. So some of these veteran players are holding on longer. So what? You got Diana Taurasi at 40 still getting people buckets. So the exit, you're not seeing the same exit because they're not earning the same kind of money as some of their counterparts in other professional. I don't even talk about the NBA. So it's like you got to hold on a little longer to set because this is going to be your top earning part of your life until you figure out what your next strategy is going to be. So you have more of the women hanging on as much as they can to the later ages. Coaches are, like you said, back in the 70s. It's almost like that, where coaches they were holding on to the veterans more, not seeing the rookies in that same way, right? Whereas now you trying to give Wemby the playing time, the vets are in trouble in the way the strategy works in the NBA now. Whereas in this market, is the vets are holding on. So that shift along with those, so there's a log jam because people aren't leaving because they're trying to hold on as long as they can to earn the top dollar right now. Diana's making, she made more money across seas, but now she finally started to make a little money here at home because of the revenues coming in. So she might play till she's 43 because she just told them reality's coming. So I want to talk about, they just had the draft. And I didn't realize they talked about it, but damn, they just finished a full season of college basketball. They just had a draft. Now they already in practice, and they're going to be playing their first game in 2-3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Oh, man. I didn't realize it was that soon.
I mean, Cecil, you're a coach. I mean, what's the transition like that for that? I'm like, it ain't about even hitting the wall. It's what is it?
No, man, they're gonna, and you're talking about, like Diane said, you're talking about stepping it up a level too.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about stepping it up a level. Also, there's going to be an expectation that they're ready to go, and so these next couple of weeks are going to be intense. They just are. The funniest
line, Cecil, I don't know if you even know the funniest line. So when Chanel, my niece was working out with Cecil, getting ready for free season. I don't know if we had a conversation when you were around. You were talking about how she's got a position to get stronger.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, the women at the next level are going to be stronger. They got that mother strength. It's a different kind of strength when you talking.
Yeah.
And that's what Diana was saying. And the funniest thing is like, so I don't know if I said, these folks are playing for mortgages. It's different.
Yeah,
They pay for mortgages, independent school tuition. It's they coming to the table with a little bit of different, and they're gonna feel that. And she's like, you ain't playing against 18-year-olds. So was she just being hard? Because if you look at the numbers, rookies, there's some rookies always vying for the MVP. So is she just being the old? She just get off. Is she doing the get off the line stuff, or is she being real?
I think a little bit of both. I think she doesn't want him to be naive about it. I think she wants to, in her own way, kind of saying, look, you need to get yourself ready. Don't just think you're going to walk in here and walk on the floor and just, I think she's being real, but also she's doing some of that veteran kind of
mind trick. Which said, Joy?
She's doing
that veteran mind trick stuff. Don't bring that in here.
She's being a typical UConn shit talker.
Typical Diane Taurasi. Because that's Diana, period.
Yeah.
And that's her. That's Diana right there. Like, and the thing about she was just being Diana. When she asked her, she was like, reality's coming. She was just being all about, that's how we roll. So I'm with you on that. Like I said, people like Angel Reese, what they do, that translates. Like, if you can rebound, Angel Reese gonna do Angel Reese things. Don't be surprised, because you don't need to run the offense for her to be effective. She gonna clean up. Cardosa, some of that stuff translates. So I think some of these shooters, I think where it's gonna be tough a little bit with Kaylin, she's not gonna have freedom. But the thing they're gonna learn about Kaylin, she can pass, and she passed into Boston. So she was passing to her Iowa teammates, but now she's gonna be passing to Grace Berger. She's gonna pass to Boston. She got some of these other. She's gonna pass to some players. It's gonna be interesting to see how some of these folks do it. But I think yeah.
About her passing. And I watching all the games, and I'm not gonna take it away from her. She sees things and she passes. But it's interesting. What makes her an effective passer is her ability to shoot and her ability to do other things, because people watch her. If you notice against South Carolina, they didn't watch her. They intercepted most of her passes that normally got through because they weren't watching Caitlin. They were playing basketball. So instead of stepping up and forgetting who was behind them, they say, hey, you guard her up front. We're not going to step to her. Okay. And so Caitlin thought that people were stepping to her, and they were just stepping back because they weren't watching her. Many times on the fast breaks, I was watching games where people were watching Caitlin dribble down the floor while other people were running down the backside. It's like you can't, and South Carolina didn't do that. They took care of the basket and let whoever was on Caitlin take care of Caitlin. So it's going to be interesting to see, not that she doesn't have court sense, not that she can't pass the basketball, but people aren't going to be enamored to watch Caitlin pull up from the beak. You know, they're still going to play basketball, and they're still going to guard what they're supposed to guard because they've seen shooters before. You know.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Let's. I want to talk a little bit about. I had a conversation, and we didn't put this on the rundown, but I got y'all here because it reminds me of this conversation. So Danny Hurley said at when he was on the podium, you know, UConn runs college basketball, and he said it like a guy from Jersey. And you know, I felt like he had Dipset behind him, Jadakiss, somebody else behind him. He said it with that energy, but we had this conversation about who runs stuff. And in our conversation I was having with Darnell and Carl, I was like, okay, South Carolina's probably running things in women's basketball. UConn probably is running things in men's basketball. Are the Chiefs running things in NFL? Is Denver running in NBA? This whole concept of running and getting on runs. I was saying the Aces running things in the WNBA. I think they might be poised to run things in the WA. But this whole idea, when Danny Hurley was talking about running things, and I know, Joy, you picked them to win. Do you believe him? Do you think they're running things, or do you think, you know, we're going to see some pretty good teams out there in Maui next year? You know, is he right in saying that UConn's running things? I know they just picked up a big transfer.
I don't like him, so.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
So that's a difficult question. But like in my bracket, I picked them to win. So for now, kind of. So, I mean, that kind of, you know, leads me to the final game. They kicked their butt in the second half. They couldn't stop Edie because Edie's 7 foot, whatever. But they stopped everybody else. So did they run it? Are they running it? Kind of. Until someone else.
The thing I want you both to think about, because I want to hear you say this, and this, Coach, I'm gonna go to you because you had to figure out how to build programs. Both Don and Danny, they have a deep philosophy that they don't. In a day when people are making compromises, they're not making compromises.
No. In fact, today I saw a little bit of the Steam Room with Ernie and Chuck, and he was on. And I reluctantly watch it because I don't like him. But
you're gonna pick his team. That's respect right there.
That is respect.
Gotta go with what's real, right?
Yeah.
But you know, he was saying, I was reluctantly listening, but he was saying that he's a tough coach, like you said. He does not change for the way society is. He's rough. I mean, you know, he's hard. He yells. He was on another interview, and in the middle of the interview, he's like, "Shut up!" Live. Shut up. You know, like, he's unapologetic. So, I mean, you kind of got to give him his flowers, you know, like, he's not changing for no one, and it's working. But you also got to have the right kids to buy into that. Some kids still can. Majority can't. you know? So at least he's being successful because his kids are buying in. Because kids nowadays, they can't handle the rough, tough coach, you know? The old school, gonna yell, gonna have high expectations and run you to the ground. He's unapologetic about that. He's straight up, yes. But he also said that's how he was raised, because competitive, right? With his brother, Bobby, and his dad being the way he was. His dad was not soft on them. It was a constant competition, even in the backyard.
And they were in
So,
Jersey City doing that, right? It's
and
like,
if your own father ain't gonna give you slack,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So he is who he is. But I mean,
You made that point. It's interesting because he's from Jersey and Don's from Philly. They got that same DNA. Philly got that
yeah,
same DNA, right?
yeah,
It's that Philly stuff, and you talking about that Jersey City stuff, Coach. I mean, you
yeah.
had to try to figure out how to build stuff like that, and you are doing this, and you still are working with young kids and stuff like this. But you've seen this transition. What I mean, I think Joyce makes some really good points. Like how I think more people can do it. But what is it about doing it with young folks today? Because I think young folks real recognize real, and so I think there's an element about that.
I think that's kind of a place to start a little bit, because I've gone back and forth with Danny Hurley, but he interests me, so I've been trying to study him a little bit. Okay, and Danny is just legit. And like you just said, kids know legit and they know bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. Danny means what he says. You know, and if you remember, was it 2022, 2020? Yep. He got up there and said, y'all better get us now.
Yep.
He said that 2 years ago.
Yep.
Before when he was just building the team, he said, you better get us now because you won't be able to get us later.
Yep.
Yep. They put a 30-point run on somebody in an NCAA tournament.
Yes, 30-0, Illinois.
I mean, you don't do, and then they came out and just made, after all the good basketball Purdue played, they made Purdue look like they were seventh graders.
They did. They
made them look like they were the seventh graders with the one big kid on the court. Right?
Exactly.
The kid that everybody's not sure how old he is. They want to see his birth certificate.
And you couldn't stop him because he's so big.
Well, and they didn't care.
Yeah, because they stopped everybody else.
They said, well, we don't care about you, but you other cats out here, y'all may as well go home.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And somebody said to me that I heard somebody say that that my brother was telling me, well, UConn exposed Purdue. I said, no, they didn't. Everybody knew how to stop Purdue.
Yep.
Everybody knew how to do it. They just couldn't do it.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. The game plan's simple. You know, take away the drives, take away the threes, let Edie get his. Everybody knew that, but everybody couldn't do that.
Yep.
And they weren't committed to it. To your point, Joy, he has them believe in what they're doing.
Yep.
And you could see them. I could see them. They were like, oh, hell, coach is right.
Yep.
And you could see them just get comfortable with what they were doing on the floor. And it just came so easy for them.
That's the key. When they play, they're not, it's not like it's tough. They're just doing what they do.
Yep. It becomes so easy that it's second nature. And that was every single game. That's
every single game.
I mean, that's straight up coaching. So you got to give Danny his props. And you know who else is like that? Don't get it twisted. Okay. Dawn is tough.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Same mindset. We're going to play. We're going to do what we do. Okay. Here's what you're going to do to her. You're just going to shut her down. We ain't going to push her right. We ain't going to push her left. We're going to guard her. Okay. And that's what they did. All right. And you take care of sign. You could see the game plan from South Carolina, what they were doing in that game defensively. All right. You can see that kind of stuff. And Dawn's unapologetic too. She's unapologetic about a lot of things. I love her. She's unapologetic about her faith. She's unapologetic about who can play for her. And the thing that those two have in common, and that I go all the way back to Maui when I asked Coach Self that question.
Yep.
I said, "Are you gonna coach your culture? Or are you gonna coach to the portal?" Okay, both Dawn and Hurley coach to their culture. They go to the portal for their culture. Okay, I'm not taking anybody. I'm taking the person that's going to fit my culture. All right, because that's what I thought Self was. He did not pick his culture. He picked the portal.
Yep.
Okay.
You could tell he realized it early on, and he been trying to do. That's why he made the statement he made at the press conference. He realized early on in Maui, because you and I, we saw it, and
Yep.
we all saw it. It's like, this is not a good fit, and he realized it. But in his heart, the way he gonna roll with it, right?
Yeah,
He gonna
I've done
try
it.
and make
I
it
can
work
do
because
it.
that's who he is.
See, and I'll be honest with you, not jumping the. I don't want to get it. We'll get into him later, but I think AJ Store is going to be okay with him.
Yeah.
Okay, but getting back to Dawn and so I'm still studying Danny because Danny got a little cocky there for a while for me. He used to be a little bit of humility was there, but that humility went out the door. But I ain't mad at him because he got 2 back-to-back national championships. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of lack of humility over the last few interviews. You know, where he's kind of patted himself on the back a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give that to him.
He walked into the arena like he's a UFC champion. You know,
Oh, yeah.
he got all the stripes. Joy, I wanted one
Well,
of the
to
things
your
I heard.
point, Devon, I guess I'll answer this. Do they run things? Absolutely. Just like Golden State ran things for a couple of years when they had their championship. When you're on top, you're running things when it looks like you got it figured out. Absolutely. Okay. Now, who's going to pick up on your model? Who is going to challenge you? That's the key. But as far as things are now, they are it. They are running things.
And they are. Joy, I want to hit you with. I want to hit you with because I want to hit you with this because I want to pull you in because this is what you are as an educator. Because Danny said something and Don said something about they can be tough with them, but they're also they know that they love and care about them. And I think I've talked to you enough, Joy, about the way you work in your educational setting, which I think fits a lot with this coaching. Is the reason why you can be hard on them because you demonstrated how the ways in which you love them, even love them hard.
But see, you can't.
How do you do that? Huh?
You have to really get to know them.
Yeah.
So like how Cecil's saying he was true, or you were saying true to themselves of their culture.
Yeah.
You can't get that through the portal because it's about building. It's about nurturing and getting to know them to a point where you can have high expectations and they know that you're being hard on them and expecting it because you believe in them.
Yeah.
So funny you say that because as an educator, I had this incident today where I've been working with a kid that I just got this year that I don't know very well. He doesn't know me very well. So I have these high expectations and he can't handle them because he thinks I'm picking on him.
Yeah.
He thinks I'm being mean. He thinks I'm being hardcore yelling at him. I mean, again, doesn't know me. Apparently I don't know him as well. So what I'm doing with this particular kid is not working because I haven't had the time to nurture him, to know the way I work, to know what my expectations are and why. Everything I said, he just turned around and I'm picking on him. But so that's where Danny comes from. And I think Don as well. You can't build that through the portal unless you have a strong kid. But still, you can't. You got to get them and build them into your system and make them understand that everything you do is for the best of you, the team. And at the end of the day, I want what's best for you. And I truly care about you. That's how, and you can see that in Danny. You can.
Yeah.
You can.
You can see the way his players look. They treat him. And though, and I don't know if you heard this or read this, Devon. I'm sure you had. Dawn's number one recruit was an environmental engineering major.
Yeah.
Dawn Staley had them create an environmental engineering major at South Carolina's campus that they did not have before. Now that's saying, I want you.
Yeah.
she sat with the department and said, look, we need to have an environmental engineering program. How are we going to do this?
And they probably should have
that's
the
when
first
the young lady signed to go to school.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some real stuff there.
Well, and that's part of it. Like, And the one thing she does is she got her own parent program. She be engaging. She be leaning into some parents because she understands we got to work upstream with them. A lot of these coaches will run away from that smoke. She be leaning in because y'all part of this. So y'all got to
Yes.
understand what we trying to do. And she leaned
Everybody's.
right into that smoke, which is a little bit
Yep.
different. And I think one of the things we're going to talk about, and this kind of setting this up, because I had I've had a couple conversations even with Coach Fickle at Wisconsin around this. I think he made a really good point about what we're hitting it is like people are going to really have to decide around, are they building a program or are they focused on transactional? And you can't play both. And I think
Nope.
people like Self, Hurley, and it's in their DNA. Now there's coaches out here who really roll. Like my man at Ole Miss, football, he can do that transactional stuff. He gonna win. He got that in him. He got that hustler spirit. It's gonna work like that for them. And he gonna do them one deals. But you got to decide what you are and be true to that. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think in all these cases so now the NCAA, because of the court case that happened in West Virginia, that put it like an injunction on the NCAA limiting how people can transfer and win and number. That now they've created this unlimited transfer portal, which is a whole nother piece going on here. So I just want to get your initial reactions. Joy, you're looking at this. What's your initial reactions on this? It's part of the player empowerment movement, but there's also this element of, I always remind people of just because the rules say you can do it doesn't mean it's the right strategic maneuver to do. And just because they say you can transfer, it might not be the best move. And sometimes you got to work
Right.
through stuff, right? So what's your thought on this and the impact of this decision?
I honestly think it's going to create chaos,
Yeah.
but that's where we're at.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. You know what I mean? An article read says the player has all the power, which they do, because you could, they have no reason to sweat it out and learn lessons.
Mm.
You do one thing they don't like, I'm out. No questions asked. They ain't got to sit out. There's no consequences. So I don't know, I don't know if it's a good thing. Like you said, just because you can do it, is it good? But it's kind of the way society is. They don't like something, they quit. They find another job, they quit. Kids don't know how to stick it out, tough it out. And that's when you become something bigger and learn lessons, right? When you have hardship, when you suffer. So is it a good thing? I'm not sure.
Yeah. And the
But
thing that I'm
it's the
worried
way
about,
that society is going.
I mean, you putting up some good points. I mean, Coach, the thing I'm worried about, and there's got to be some research. I'm thinking, wow, I'm working my PhD. Maybe is this where I should do my dissertation? I'm not, my advisor's not want to hear that right now. He's like, go down the right. But there's a lot of people going to portal, same number don't come out. And historically with things like this, I think it's a structural disadvantage if you don't come with the right kind of cultural and social capital. If you're not coming from the right family, can maneuver in and out of it. If you don't have the right resources, you can end up in a world of hurt. And I'm wondering what debt's going to look like, a degree completion for first generation folks who come from economic disadvantaged backgrounds around this portal, right? It's going to be interesting because it looked good, but I don't even know how you work that, Coach. I mean, I think they relented because they had to, but I think it's going to have a long-term impact on people's future because not everybody going to come out the other side of that portal.
Yes, not everybody.
Well, and the unlimited amount of transfers you can make is to me is as problematic as anything.
Oh my
Even
goodness.
when I heard students this year that were here this place last year, this place this year, and they're back into the portal again, it's just the wild west now, unless you really have a strong structured program where you don't need to do that, which means that a lot of kids aren't going to have the opportunities they think they're going to have.
No.
That's the other thing. You're opening up a window for people who aren't ready to make those kind of decisions. Really?
Yeah.
not thinking of those decisions for the best reasons.
Right.
Okay. And you're opening up a window and telling them, hey, make these life-changing decisions now.
That have years of repercussions, right?
Yeah. And also, you're playing again, we're playing into this notion that if I don't like it, I just leave.
Exactly.
If I don't care for it, if it's not what I want it to be, then I have no stick-to-itiveness. I don't have this, I'm going to work at it. And so I think that bothers me too. I think from a caliber of play, you're going to see that happen as teams switch in and out, the caliber of play. Those teams that have culture, that have people that believe in the process, you're going to see them dominate again. But most importantly, I think we're going to build a society of people that think that if I don't like it, I'm going to leave. I can't. I'm thinking more than just basketball. It's just that if I don't like this job, I'm out. I'll just find someplace else. And
I don't get what I want, I'm out.
Yeah. I think what it's going to require, though, again, saying all that, you're going to have to establish some kind of counseling or advising or something where you're willing to sit a student down and say, okay, I get it. Let's talk about this first. Let's not just jump into it. Somewhere along the line, either the schools or someone's going to have some process to talk through these kids.
Yeah, in some of these cases, particularly in the Power Five, folks are doing this thinking that they can reset their NIL dollars. And again, like I want to take people inside of this. The transfer portal experience from fall to spring goes like this for football. You'll be crazy. There are going to be a number of kids in the portal, and literally, institutions are going to be making decisions on these students, and they may be in South Carolina, and they got to be in Oregon. They're going to be making decisions on Friday, and they got to be moved in class by Monday. Developmentally, whereas a student who's just transferred to those institutions are going to know they're transferring in the spring, sometime in October or November. They're going to have 2 months to kind of figure out, get their classes together. They're going to talk to somebody. They're going to participate in an orientation program for people for classes coming. Like, developmentally, it's not good at all. I mean, I would almost eliminate, and I got pushed back from Carl, but I believe we have to be, if we're about education, we be first. I'd eliminate or some way rethink the transfer, particularly from fall to spring. First of all, yeah, it'd be nice you could be at spring practice, but we ain't worried about that. You still got the summer and fall practice to transfer, and if you're that advanced player, you should be ready. Because to be trying to set somebody up with that kind of stuff, so that's what's happened here developmentally, and you're leaving. You don't know what you're leaving. So,
that's right.
Let's think about it. It's very weird because we might talk about AJ Store, but let's take a place like Wisconsin, but you're going to Kansas. One of the networks, we talked about my niece through this stuff when she was at Indiana. Like, one of the networks, there's a network you're leaving. What these kids aren't getting, they're not tapping into that network. So one of the values of being an athlete, if you don't play, I was in Beijing wearing a Wisconsin shirt. So many people walked up to me, knew me. There's something about a global network that is also part of your strategy that these kids don't even take into account when they're making these moves. And yes, they're young, but that's the game. That's the game that kids who have a little bit more capacity, they think it through that. And that's what we missing when you leaving, when you don't know where you're leaving and going, when it's just about what's happening with the sport. It's about the network you're part of. Right?
Yep.
And that's the piece that I think these kids don't get. And particularly the first generation college kids ain't going to be thinking about that.
No, and their parents aren't either. So that's the part.
Yes.
They don't have that well-rounded support.
Yes.
That's not part of the thinking process, because you're not growing up thinking about connections and what's going to happen down the line. That's not what you do.
If you at Harvard, be a graduate transfer. Because you want that network.
Yep.
Right? It's better for you to be a graduate transfer, and now you go get a new network. So my niece, She's a graduate of Indiana. She got that network. Now she's a graduate of Bethune. She got 2 networks. Right? That's how you work it, and they're not even thinking that way. And so that's the part of the game. There's game in this. Even if you never step on a court, there's much more game in this that you leverage when you're an athlete. If you don't play, you play for the Badgers and you didn't really play, but you play for the Badgers, you gold, still gold, wherever you go.
Yeah. Well, that's why I say there needs to be some kind of advising or something.
Yeah.
That you just can't just throw them out there and put it out there and say, okay, go at it. There needs to be some place, wherever it is, at the school or in the process of the portal transferring, to talk with advisors and say, what are you looking to do? What have you done? How are you going to move forward from here? Something to get them thinking about, why am I actually transferring? Because I don't want to run, because I don't want to run up and down sprints every day, or I didn't get any I didn't get off the bench or something like that. Just understand what you're going to, but like you said, some coaches, they've got some issues, and maybe kids want to move on, but they need to know that too.
Yeah.
Okay. That where they're moving on to, and again, there's no guarantee where you're going is going to be better.
Yeah. We all know that didn't work in life. That ain't gonna work. It's not always greener. On the other side. You know that. And I think one of the things, if I were making a suggestion, and I know this is a court system, but in the right world, I would say you get 2. And you can appeal if you got your 2 if the coach leaves.
Yeah. That's reasonable.
That changes the dynamics. So
I thought that's what they were going to do.
Yes.
Because that made that, to me, that okay, that's fair. That's reasonable.
Yes. But part of what you got to do, what's hurting us is, on this side, is the NCAA got to share the money with them. See, if I'm making an investment in you, then we can have this type of stuff. And Ramogi Human was talking about that before. With the TV deals, you got enough to be able to spread the money across all these athletes, Olympic and non-wide, in a way that there's some baseline, right? And then you got NIL. That starts to lock some stuff in. And then what you do is, when you sign with a university, this is where where they get in trouble is the non-renewable. You can't have it both ways. If they just said you got a guarantee, or when you sign with a university, it's an automatic 2-year contract with a baseline. Now, but see, what the counter is, it's non-renewable. You're not guaranteeing this stuff. Now you tell us we can't transfer. So they're trying to have it both ways, when it should be either guaranteed renewable, or you sign up for at least a 2-year deal that the university has to be supportive with a baseline. Now you can restrict the movement, and I think that wouldn't be something that the court case would counter, because everybody's getting something, right? And I think with all the money they got coming in, they could do it, but that's where the greed's coming in. So that's why they're getting in trouble, because none of these institutions, all these coaches want the flexibility.
Well,
but the thing is, it just creates chaos. There's no stability for anyone. The coaches, the teams, the school, the kids, their degrees, there's everything. There's no stability whatsoever. At least with the 2-year commitment, or 2 max, or an additional if your coach transfers, then it gives them time to grow. They may not like it the first year, but who knows the second year?
Yeah, I think your first statement, the thing that jumps in my mind, is going to be, at least initially, and maybe they'll figure out some way to temper it, but it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos.
And we're back with chaos. And speaking of chaos, this is a good transition. Speaking of chaos, Jonte Porter got a lifetime ban from the NBA.
My God.
Scrambling. Caught on betting the situation where he was giving information about his health, and giving indications about his availability with games, which led to.
But he did things so obviously. They're like, "What's wrong with you?" "I'm sick." Dude, come on.
Walking out of the game. Oh my goodness.
He didn't even make money. He made like 30,000. Come on, dude. Your brother makes like 30 million a year. You can't get some of that? Or
you can't get a loan? I mean,
even
well,
even
hey man, the brother. I mean, I don't. I hate to say it, but the brother is just not very bright.
that's being nice.
I'm trying to be nice. He's
He
just not
was
very
not.
bright. I mean, the
He
stuff that
was
he
not.
tried to pull, was it makes you wonder. The people he was dealing with weren't the shooters in the room either, but he just wasn't very bright. I don't. There isn't much else you can say about that. He left himself wide open. The one pool of money that he was got frozen because everything looked too, what they say, didn't look right. So they froze that completely. It just didn't look right. So no, you can't win this bet.
He didn't even make 50 grand. How stupid can you be?
And what are you going to do?
But I want to bring it to the larger issue. Look, NBA and all these leagues are in bed with these folks. In a culture around betting, and Barkley responded like, I wish they would have probably given a 5-year ban. He's a young person, people
And
develop
not too bright too.
not too bright, but there's opportunity for reflection. Now, if you look at what happened with, was it Ripley or whatever it is for the NFL? He got a year ban. I don't know if he bailed his own team, but he's back playing with now he was with the Jaguars, but now he's with somebody else, with top receiver, right? He was in Atlanta, got caught up in some betting stuff. They pushed him out for a year, and he came back with. So, but the league has created this, right? They in bed with them, right? They locked in.
They are.
Yes,
man. Before the NCAA tournament, and we had just been talking about this a little bit, and I just shook my head and laughed. On ESPN, they had the person come on and said, and you can connect with us at ESPN Bet.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there thinking, y'all talking about people betting, and even if you hear them talk, and they're sitting there going, well, I think they can cover the spread. The under is this, the over is that, and I think they're going to cover that, so I'm going to take them. And I'm sitting there going, y'all sitting here talking about betting lines, and in the same breath talking about how we have to watch gambling.
Yeah, they distributors of the crack. Right?
I know. I mean,
right? They the hustlers on the corner.
I mean, and they had up on ESPN Bet, and I thought, wow, are you kidding me?
Yes, and they try to tell the players not to get high on your own supply.
Right? But they are supplying the supply.
Oh, yeah.
They're right in the middle of it, all up in it.
All up in it. Got all these people talking that trash. All of them.
It's
like,
I think that's a good point. I never really thought of it. I mean, I was shocked by the lifetime ban, and then I saw how much he made, which was zilch. But yeah, he's young. He needs some reflection time and some counseling. And
I think they're trying to come down. They think they can come down, kind of emulating baseball. What they think about. And that's the other thing. It goes back to this. Stop trying to show that you're some kind of Puritan over this stuff. Come on.
Right.
Stop. That just looks stupid,
And they're the one advertising it and influencing it.
Yes. You're promoting it, you're advertising it, and now you're going to come down on it? Come on now. Like you say.
Go ahead.
Like a 2-year ban, okay?
Yeah.
2-year ban.
Yep.
Don't do it again and let it ride, because like you say, people out there right now betting to see how much time he was going to get.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Or how long the decision was going to take to come out.
Yeah.
All that was on it. Over under. All the eyeballs. And so it's telling us to the point where NCAA was pushing back on, didn't want prop bets on NCAA games and things like that. So, sports and betting, it was always underground. It was always there. It's come above ground, right? It's percolating as we're trying to find new sources of revenue to pay these big contracts, right? It's part of the game, and this was bound to happen. And and part of it is they probably knew outside is like, well, his brother got him. Somebody, he's gonna be all right. He's gonna land on his feet at some point. Part of that. People say, "Why is that consideration?" Yeah, it's somewhat of it.
Somewhat, yeah.
And they had to because his brother's one of the stars, everybody's going to be, paying attention to because they're probably going to make the finals and win again. It creates a whole nother, he's obviously going to be dealing with questions with this. So they're trying to minimize all of this, right? As part of this. And so it's crazy that all this is happening and getting ready. So a lot going on in the world of sports. Anything else? I want to, maybe, I always try to give a space for if we want to give out flowers or give out some final thoughts to something that you saw in sports or something you just want to highlight that you think is special around in your life. I want to give that the space for that as we try to wrap up the show today. I'm good being here. This might be the birds of a new podcast runoff for us where I got to get, we in very different time zones, so we have to figure out how to make this work. But it's just so good being with y'all. But I don't know if there's anything final that y'all want to reflect on in sports. We usually call this drop the mic on the other show, but if there's somebody you just want to give a shout out in the world of sports or in life that you just want to share a few words as we try to put some positivity back in the world. That's about it. Cecil, you have anybody you thinking about?
Sure. I have a couple, if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead. We're going to give you the floor for that.
Okay. My first one is for Joy and her family. It's just been a shot in the arm, exciting to meet you and to have spent time with you in Maui, watching you work and just be so into everything. Every time I look up, Joy was in the stands with somebody or, just in it, the kind of stuff that we love being sports people, and to find somebody that has that energy and that life and everything has just been a blessing. It's the kind of reason that we're on this earth, to meet people, for me to meet people like you. And I'm glad that God put you in my life and got to experience it. And I'm definitely looking forward to Maui next year and us being together
thank
again.
You. Me too.
The other one, and I don't know if I shared this with you, Devon, this is a personal thing, and I'm going to try to hold it together here. My daughter, Jennifer, and I don't think I shared this with you, but my daughter, Jennifer, was just selected to be in the Illinois High School Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Congratulations.
And so we're going to her induction down in Bloomington, Illinois, in a couple of weeks. I'm just proud of her. She's been an amazing young woman. Some people, there's no secret to when you're successful. And Jen never missed a game in high school. She started from her freshman year in high school. They actually wanted trying to figure a way to have her play in 8th grade, but they couldn't get that figured out. But she played every game in high school. She went to Northern Illinois, and the coach initially said that, well, Jen, she liked it, and they said they were going to redshirt her. From the day she set foot on the court, she was a starting center.
Awesome.
And she played she never missed a game. And Jen was the kind of, some people say that, well, my dad took me out in the driveway and asked me to shoot. Jen used to ask me to go out and shoot with her. And so all that hard work she put in and everything, and she played professionally in Europe for a while, but all that hard work that she put into really kind of culminated when they gave her the call, because Jen kind of low key kind of thing, but she had a smile on her face when she got that call. So anyway, I'm really proud of her. I definitely want to give her some flowers and appreciate her. And so going to get to see her inducted into the Hall of Fame is going to be exciting.
Oh my God. Congratulations. That is amazing. And that is truly what you said. It's hard work paying off. And that's what kids don't get nowadays, It's not the immediate gratification. It's the hard work you put in over years and years. Sacrifice.
Yeah. You gotta let that food simmer. You gotta let it cook. Gotta let it marinate. That's life. I talk to young folks like you gotta let it marinate sometimes. Y'all can't just be using the microwave cooking and stuff or trying to do everything fast. Let it marinate sometimes. That's what happens when you let it marinate. That stuff will come back on you thick. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, this is amazing. Joy, I don't know if you want to go or if you want me to go. Give you a little time.
I can go.
Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna give you some flowers because, like Cecil said, I've had a lot of opportunity, enjoy my people don't understand how much I love college basketball, and going to the Maui Invitational is my dream. I'm literally in heaven every day we're at that tournament, even though we're there like 12 to 15 hours a day. And, we're tired as hell, but I'm happy as hell too. It's not work. I get to, all these amazing people that are with the teams or watch the teams, but then, you bring Cecil in, you bring Darnell in, and, we meet all these other people that are part of media, and just that honor. Yes, I know I met you through Lehua, but you didn't have to embrace me. We could have just been knowing each other. So it's awesome. It's literally family, and I love it. I love coming on your show. I always get kind of nervous, but as you can see, I get light up because it's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing. I love talking to sports. I love texting you like, "Oh my God, did you see this?"
Yeah.
So thank you, because you get to let me light my little sports horn, because no one truly gets that I'm into it. They always look at me weird or don't believe I know stuff. And um, it just gives me happiness, and it's all because of you.
Oh,
Wow.
well, y'all, this has just been a labor of love from the beginning. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do it is like, we're trying to build this, but I just got into it because it was a great way to connect with family and friends. It's like, it's a cool way for me to talk about it. Cecil knows these are things we used to argue about it. I still know, I still remember when we were arguing about the Pistons when they were in the finals against the Lakers. Arguing just two of the brightest minds, you and Marcus. Y'all are Laker fans. I was trying to tell y'all that the Pistons is about to serve them, and we're at the bachelor party debating this one, and basically brought that to this, right? And so I do want to thank both of you for just being in my life and being part of this journey. Cecil, you and I have been everything. I was there from when you started coaching at Beloit and watching you doing it and the work you're doing now to transform, the life of the institution, and we just grown together. And now we get to do this. It was the coolest thing to be able to be in Honolulu with you and watch you to watch your expression and the heaven you were in, and you and your partner Londa as well. Like, it was great for everybody, but it was just a family experience. And that was what this was all about. It wasn't about anything else. And Joy's been the same way. Like, Joy's been my partner in RSG. When we in Maui, we rolling, we back to back, and we on text messages about this stuff, arguing and debating or just throwing stuff up and saying these people are crazy. It's just like the energy and the connectivity. I really appreciate both of y'all for being in, and it's just been great and just being part of it. We just rolling. And I want to give out two other ones. One is, my daughter, who y'all got a chance, is about to graduate. She's an incredible nurse at UT Arlington, and just watching her journey. Talking about being patient. She was voted when she uh, got her first degree in nursing, voted by her classmate as being the person who they most would want to take care of them. It was a major award. That's like your peers who do care saying it, and she's just grown, and so like to see that we'll be able to celebrate, and she's working on a master's degree and focus on informatics and nursing, like just going in different places. Just brilliant, and just a relationship you develop, it changes. And so just to do that. And then my niece, who's like my other, Cecil's had a chance to connect with her, and you, Joy, Chanel, she's graduating with her master's degree from Bethune, but she just signed a contract with agents in France to start looking at opportunities to play basketball in Europe, and thinking about, she had walked away from the game 2 years ago. Like, she had been at Indiana, thought she wasn't going to play again, found that spark and that love, found it at Bethune. I want to thank all the people at Bethune who just harnessed her and really supported her in her journey there. And she's in a place she probably thinks she was going to be 3 years ago, and went to the combines for European leagues at the Final Four. Played 3 days. Folks saw her and think she could play. So I just want to congratulate like that thing
That's
about
great.
persistence we talk about, right? And Cecil, you played a major part. She really the time she spent with you here in Beloit for 2 days really made a difference. And y'all have connected. Like we all need it's like persistence and having your community, right? And having the people around you as you go through it. And it's a lifelong thing. I always tell people the power of your kitchen cabinet. Y'all are my kitchen cabinet. That when you have that group that guides you through stuff, that's how you can get through life. And in watching her and my daughter and others, these young folks who get it, they go through it and they get it, they stick with it, and it pays off.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So
yeah, I'm so proud of Chanel because
yep.
she quit.
Yep.
See, so we went to go watch her the end of December. We went to
Yep.
go watch her
Yep.
play a game.
Yep.
She shot the winning basket in that game.
Yeah.
I was lucky. But
Yeah,
yep.
it was truly a blessing and to work with her this summer and watch her work.
Yep.
I mean, her dedication to it and her striving to be excellent.
Yep.
And it was a blessing for me for her to say it's not enough to say listen to me.
Yeah.
But it was for her to work with me, be attentive, and take some worth from what I was saying. That was huge, so it was. I was just pleased to be able to do it. She's amazing. She's going to do well no matter what she does.
Yeah,
for sure, because she does. And you're so right. I mean, it's hard to find people like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so hard to find young people that get it, that know that I got to put one foot in front of the other every day. I got to do this every day. I got to grind every day if I want to achieve something.
Well, and even just as simple as you said, listen.
Yep.
Kids nowadays don't want to listen.
Yep.
They think they know everything. And it's like you both are like, you're a little older than me, but Cecil's a little bit more older than me. Like, you know more than me because you've been here longer. And you try to tell them that it's not about like you're wrong or you're just trying to share your wisdom.
Yep.
They can't receive it. It's very different and hard to find kids that will receive what you're trying to tell them. And it's not correcting them, just sharing your wisdom.
Yeah. But it says a lot about those two young ladies.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
And their, obviously their upbringing, but it shows a lot about them as mature individuals. And so, yeah, I applaud them as well. Or thank God for them as well. So,
because I remember
go ahead.
When I first met you, Devon, Kira did not know what she wanted to do.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
Sent her to California. You was like, come on, girl, you gotta figure out something.
Yeah.
You gotta do something.
Devon, you can't just hang. You can't.
But part of it is you put them in a space where they could see possibilities. We did an internship with PJ, who was one of our sponsors.
Right.
She got a chance to see Dr. Bowman's office and how he works. So that ability to open people's minds is part of this. And one of the things I used to tell students, I still say that, I crack people up when I say it. I tell them, look, you can Google wisdom, but you can't get wisdom from Google. I'll let it sit.
Let that marinate.
I love that.
Let it marinate. Wisdom is when you sit at the feet of folks and take it all in. Then I say, I put it in your language, then you remix it. Then, once you figure it out, then you can remix it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't remix before you figure it out.
You got to figure it out. And you could tell, and I used to stop getting into this generational thing because I meet students right now who got old souls all the time. I'm like, I love
that.
You.
Is true.
I got one of our office interns from Milwaukee, just incredible. She got old soul. She get it. She got old soul. She understand the moves already. She's like, I don't really need to chase the money. She's in data science where she could be chasing the money. But she's like, nah, I got this move. She understands there's chess moves to this, right? It's that old soul they got. You know, they know that you gotta let it cook like grandma's meals. When I told her that, she got it. She's like, yeah, you're right. You gotta let it simmer like grandma's. Yeah, just like grandma's meal. That's how you gotta let this game go. And we gotta get more young people to understand that there's more fool's gold out there than real gold.
Amen. Amen.
And that's where this transfer portal stuff is. Don't get caught up with all this other stuff. How are you gonna run your race in life? And all these people out here running like sprinters when they really middle distance, really long distance runners. They're not sprinters. Right? But they're trying to run like sprinters. No, that ain't how you run. That ain't how you work. You like a middle distance runner. You know, you can run a gold medal as a middle distance. You can win a gold medal as a marathon runner. It's
But
about
you're
the
definitely
destination.
not a sprinter.
Yeah, you got to run the race the way you run the race.
Yep.
And you can't run somebody else's race. You got to run your race. And once we figure that out, and that only comes through this type of stuff we do. Like Joy helps me. Joy and I have had more conversations that she's giving me advice on to help me understand. Wow, I got to run the race this way. You know, that's how I do. You're right. I do run the race that way. Right? It's like you got to have that reflective moment, and that's a lifelong skill. It's even more important today because there's too much stuff out there. So I just appreciate y'all. It's been so good. And everybody, you get the stuff on Real Sports Guys, realsportsguys.com, Real Sports Guys on all platforms. I'll also have social media handles for from both of y'all. I don't know, Cecil, I don't even know if you got your social media handle. You got yours? Or is that, I have to figure out what you do got your social media handle.
I have to figure one out. I have to figure that out.
We'll get that. We'll get this stuff on there. So if you want to connect with them, like all RSG people, I want y'all to understand, y'all got to come correct. Because they will give you the Matumbo finger, especially Joy. She don't play.
She will do that.
She don't play. She don't play. Think of any neighborhood you think you know from. Joy got some of that spirit in her. I don't care where you at. She gonna give it to you.
I found that out.
But
for sure.
We'll definitely see you on the other side. Until next time, this is RSG Live here with Joy and Cecil and Devon. Take care until next time.
Countdown to Maui, baby.
That's right. Y'all take it home.
All right.
All right. Have a good one.
Ready for the day the Lord called on me. The model shit is man, they all on me. Ooh.